I've always liked Louis Tomlinson. He was always the one who caught my eye. It's those blue eyes. Yes, I like Niall. Like I secretly am in love with Niall kind of thing because he's Irish and plays guitar and has really blue eyes. But Louis is like my hero. Harry, kind of, but Harry's more my muse. So the year of being true blue to Louis Tomlinson has been unexpectedly fun and has had an ROI I would not have imagined at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of this year last year. And one of the things that so last week I was away. I kind of posted that, oh, I missed the husbands because I was away for like basically all week last week because I had to get up super duper early. And I was like going from 5:30 a.m. Pacific time to like 4 p.m. Pacific time because I had a training that was being hosted out of New Jersey, but I'm in California. So anywho's, thank God for Zoom. Thank God. And I said, it's kind of amazing because the training that I was in, me and my friend, I was listening. So this is a cool origin story in my opinion. So if this is going to bore you, you can close the video. But I had been doing my videos about Louis Tomlinson and how he's got all this grit and all this stuff, right? And I did in my old channel, I did a bunch of videos about Louis's business acumen and like his, negotiation tactics and all this stuff. And kind of like I was sort of pseudo studying just how he was instrumental in one direction, getting out of that psycho contract, the little psycho contract, I call it. And just, as he's expanded into his 28 line and all this, I thought, God, this guy, he's like so street smart, but also savvy and just really got that grit. And then like with many things, you get what you kind of focus on, it does influence you. It's kind of like the birds of a feather flock together. But in these days, sometimes it's parasocial. And in all the inspiration of Louis's accomplishments, what did I do? I said, well, I really want to take this brain spotting training, but it's so expensive. And I already did the EMDR and that's time consuming. That's money consuming. And I couldn't get my employer to pay for it. So I'm like, I really want to do brain spotting though. I just totally want to do it. And I thought, well, when Louis was on his own again after the band went on hiatus and he was kind of not being given the recognition he deserved for having the most writing credits from One Direction, that lyrical sniper he is, what did he do? He created his own festival, did his own infrastructure, all the stuff I talked about. And I said, Louis clearly thinks outside the box. So I borrowed from, there's a technique from NLP that is called modeling. And it's interesting that NLP is not considered a psychotherapy technique. There's a lot of reasons for that. Mainly, I don't think there's enough peer-reviewed studies, but NLP and EMDR have a very common origin story, which is the use of eye movements. But anyway, NLP kind of went off on a different tangent, and NLP talks about modeling and anchoring in traits from someone who has abilities or has the capacities or abilities to get things done in a way that you would like to too. And who did I think, who was my archetype? Who was my model? Louis Tomlinson. I mean, the guy is like the archetype of the good boyfriend or like the ideal partner kind of thing because he's so emotionally available. But he also in terms of just, the perseverance despite it all. So borrowing from that, I thought, what would Louis Tomlinson do? And I kind of didn't seek to answer the question right away, but I just kind of pondered it. And then like many things, eventually the answer came to me and it said to go on Facebook and do a Louis and do what he does, which was the networking and putting feelers out and doing a bit of market research, sort of reading the street. And what I did was I knew Louis was intuitive. He kind of picks up trends because he plays the long game. I'm like, if I was Louis, what would I do? And I said, okay, you can probably leverage the fact that there's probably scholarships for people that are not white. I mean, and that is a thing. I was seeing it for other stuff. And I said, I wonder if there's going to be something similar for brain spotting, because I totally qualify, birth certificate alone, right? And guess what? I was right. And I knew that the algorithm was going to see the kind of search terms I was going to use on Facebook. For some reason, it kept telling me to use Facebook and not Google, and not ChatGPT, ironically. And then the algorithm showed itself, and then all of a sudden, something comes up on my news feed that says there's this scholarship for brain spotting, and it basically was a full scholarship. You just have to pay for like the materials production cost fee, which was like nothing, like $100, like nothing. Anyways, so I I put in for it, and then something told me, keep checking your email. Like, really make sure that it's like, make sure your email, when you get an email, it pops up and it buzzes on your phone, because you don't want to miss if you win this thing. And I had the sneaky suspicion that my friend would probably also qualify, and that we needed to do it together because she had been wanting to do it. Anyway, so long story short, I convinced her to do it. And true to my word, I did not miss the email. As soon as it came in, I responded, yes, I accept the scholarship. And I knew she was so busy that I was going to like ping her and say, check your email right now. So both of us got in, and we got in the scholarship. And then that was really like, that would not have happened if I had not been meditating on Louie. Like, it's like, I swear to God, he's like an ideal boyfriend archetype. But like, it's like if I had a good boyfriend, like he'd be the boyfriend that would like would have put that exact idea in my head. So it's kind of like wild, right? Can't find one in your immediate area. He's most likely in the UK, basically. I love British boyfriends; they're so smart. And then, so that is why I was in training last week. Was in a roundabout way, it was inspired by Louie. And then, so that obviously has opened up a whole new world and a new community. And I like to say, but brain spotting is my true love, and thanks to Louie. So it pays to be true blue to Lou, and other things have opened up, not just with the brain spotting, because I've kind of borrowed from the Louie business visionary brilliance. But this is the other thing. So I did post this, but the other thing that also was inspired by Louie was like him kind of branching out, creating his own infrastructure, his own revenue stream, and his attention to detail during One Direction of like really looking at like the merchandise reports. Like, the guy's so smart. And I was noticing what was trending in terms of what were in demand, continuing ed classes, and because of the networking that we got to do at the brain spotting training, I came back from it. And because I said, if this was inspired by Louie, what else can be inspired by Louie in terms of like having multiple streams of income? So the first continuing ed class that I pitched and went to get basically obtain approval to give continuing ed credits for. And yes, I will get paid, but I also pitched that I'd be paid a certain amount. And I went for it. I said, like, if Louie would be bold, how would he competitively price himself? And I followed that lead. That first course was actually approved in 3 days. And I was like, oh my God. And I wrote the proposal listening to Louie songs. And then after it was approved, that's when I got the idea that, okay, the next one has to be an ode to Larry Silenson. And it's the class on helping people recover from being closeted. So anyway, I just want to say I cannot wait for Louie's album to come out. And this is why Louie does not have to pay me to like promote him, because I get so much out of being a fan.